Hi, my name is Chris Campbell, and I am the exercise wellness specialist over at the Area 10 Enright Center. And I have been doing weight loss my entire career, which has been about 35 years as a exercise specialist. I want to share today with you some things that I've learned over the years. One thing to remember is that there's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of information available. I'm not going to be able to go through every single thing as far as details, but I do want to hit some main topics and give you some information and some sources to help out if you happen to be trying to lose weight or trying to just maintain where you are. And what I want to start with today is, one thing to keep in mind is when we talk about weight loss, um, a lot of people really focus in on just the weight poundage, or how much you weigh. One of the things I like to work with people when I'm working with somebody is I like to know what their percentage is of body fat. So I like to find out through, whether it's skin fold calipers or some sort of way to measure the actual body fat composition, body composition. Why this is a good indicator of how you're doing physically. Better so than weight is because it does find out how much of your body is fat weight. Say if you're a very muscular person, you may have a high weight, but not a high body fat composition. Same if you could be a really light person and still not have any muscle mass and not be healthy. Maybe you just don't have enough muscle. So I like to do body composition, and if that's possible, if not, you can use BMI charts and again just your weight, and go from there as far as where you feel that you need to be, or maybe where someone has helped you calculate where you need to be. And you can look up body mass index on the Google body mass index and find out where you are recommended, where it's recommended that your weight should be for your height. So I assume that if you're watching this video that you've already been told, or maybe you have some kind of an idea that you would like to lose some weight, or at least, or maybe you're feeling like you're starting to gain weight and you want to make sure you stop that. So hang on to that idea. And what I want to do is say, first off, the whole idea of my class here, this lecture, is that I'm trying to help you make lifestyle changes that are long-term. We're not talking about like a 6-week diet, 8-week diet. I really want to focus on the fact that to make some lifestyle changes, and they might be not short, but small changes over time that you make to how you live that are going to lead to some long-term changes as far as your body composition. So not just a diet. I don't even like to use the word diet. Don't even use the term. All right. So another thing to keep in mind too is if you are looking at a substantial weight loss, say over 20 pounds, 40 pounds, longer or higher, I really want you to look at that as a just kind of get that out of your head. And I want you just to focus on 20 pounds. Okay, we're not even going to think about any other numbers. You may have a long-term goal. You may have a goal of losing 100 pounds or 110 pounds or whatever. We're going to focus on 20 pounds, and that's your short-term goal. So, but another thing we're going to keep in mind as we get talking is we're really going to work on, and I'll mention this a couple times, we're going to work on the actions. We're not going to work on focusing on that number in your head. Okay, we're going to focus on what it is that you need to be doing in your life to make that happen. So we'll start out with eating. Okay, eating. Basically, I'm going to talk about and throw out some terms and throw out some dietary information and things. But if you don't have a basic understanding of nutrition, and what it means if I'm talking about proteins, carbohydrates, fats, nutrients, or other nutrients like vitamins and minerals. If you don't have a pretty basic understanding of that, I'd highly recommend you do some online research, or I am going to be teaching a basic nutrition class down the road, another video, but that's going to be very helpful to have some just basic understanding of nutrition. So, so with that, there are, I'm not going to go into it all in this class, but there are things that, like I said, the nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, that are three that I'm going to talk about today. Okay. And generally in your diet, when I say your diet, I mean your healthy eating plan. You want to have this basic mixture of those three nutrients is to have about 20 to 30% of protein, about 10 to 20% fats in your diet, different types of fats. We want the healthy fats, and then about 45 to 55% carbohydrates. So, generally, that may be something I could throw out there, and then you would just say, what does that mean as far as my everyday, how I eat? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple different ideas for how to make that work. And you need to find what works for you as far as your eating plan. It's not one shoe fits all. You got to find what works for you. And it may have to do with some other things, some other factors. It may have to do with how you grew up, how your culture, how you grew up eating, and how you learned to cook, and these types of things. So there's not one shoe fits all. So some different things that you could work on as far as your eating and eating healthier. And really all of us should eat healthy. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose weight or not, whether you're trying, it's always a matter of let's try to eat healthy. So it's very, very much the same as far as the types of foods that we're eating, okay? So, and the amounts, it depends on some different factors as well. So as far as eating healthy, some good choices would be the USDA has what's called My Plate. And you could go on USDA or just type into your search bar My Plate and then bring up a food pyramid and a lot of information to help you design your own eating plan. And most of us remember that maybe as a My Pyramid, and as a pyramid that shows how you divide your foods up during the day. So that's a good choice. Another one I think is a great choice is the Mediterranean healthy eating plan. And you could look that up again by Google search, or there is a site, nutrition.va.gov. And it's another good option for you and you might find that one fits your life better than the other. And so two good choices. If you happen to be a diabetic, I would highly recommend you go to, NIH website or a Diabetic Association website and look specifically as far as the eating plans for diabetics and diabetics who are trying to watch or lose weight. For such, I'm not going to go into details on those different types of eating plans, but just to say that there's a lot of information out there. And as far as making sure you're eating healthy, I'm going to talk about things like you need to be eating more vegetables and fruits. You need to be eating less fats. And so I'm going to give you some really general information and tell you to go out there and learn more about nutrition, learn more about healthy eating, learn more about how to make better choices, how to prepare your foods better, and those types of, or when I say prepare your foods better, I don't mean make it taste better, I mean making it healthier. So let's start with a couple of ideas here. So like I said, no matter which eating plan you choose, whether you decide to go with My Plate, kind of like the more American food pyramid, or whether you just decide to go with the My Pyramid, Mediterranean pyramid, or a diabetic version, you're still making better, the idea is to make healthy choices, and some of the same things you need to do, no matter which pyramid you're working with. And the first thing you need to do is to decide kind of an idea of how much food you need to be having each day from the different categories. So the categories, you may be looking at the proteins, the carbohydrates, the fats, like I mentioned before, but you're probably more likely to look at them in food groups. We used to have the bread groups and the milk dairy groups and the meat groups and things like that. So if you look at the different pyramids, the Mediterranean versus the USDA My Plate, you'll notice that they kind of have it divided up into how much to have in each of those groups. But then it also depends on how many calories you need per day to maintain your weight. So, for example, and I have it on this chart here, and I'm not sure whether or not you can see this chart very well. I'm a little bit old school here. And plus I like to get up and move around a little bit. So if you're a woman and you're over 50, how many calories you would need in a day would be about 1,600 to 22,000. It'd be 1,600 if you're pretty sedentary. It'd be 2,000 if you're pretty active, somewhere in between, 1,800 if you're kind of moderate activity, all right? Men plus 50, 2,000 up to 2,600, or maybe even a little bit more. So these numbers, if you happen to get on one of the sites, especially the USDA site, it will help you calculate out how much. It'll ask you questions about how much activity do you do during the course of a day, and your age and your gender and different things, so that you can then calculate out about how many calories you need a day to maintain your body weight right where it is. And then, of course, if you're wanting to lose weight, you need to make some adjustments on that. Adjustments come in different types of adjustments. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So basically, just the first thing to do is we're going to find out, and you're going to find this out for yourself on one of the websites, what your recommended calorie intake is per day. Now, this intake here, this is two different things together. This is actually two different numbers. So I'll sit down here. It's actually a number of your BMR, and your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. So it's actually a measurement of your BMR plus your activity. Okay, so it's not just, it's not just your activity, and it's not just your metabolism. So those two things together is a calculation of your daily intake. Okay, so once you have that, that's a good number. You're going to just hang on to that for now. Okay, so just bear with me, hang on to that number. And so the next thing we're going to think about is, okay, now what kind of things can I do when I think about weight loss, I think about it as just a math equation. All right, so what I'll show you here is just a calorie equation. I'm kind of simplifying things a little bit, but look at my sheet again here. Okay, so I've got calories in and calories out. Okay, so every day, if I take in, and I'm just going to use a nice easy number, say I take in 1,600 calories every day, and every day I use about 1,600 calories of my burning calories of working and moving around and things, and my metabolism. My weight stays the same. My body is happy, I'm happy, everything is just stationary. Okay, now in order to lose weight, I would need to make some kind of an imbalance in that. I would have to have more calories going out than coming in, for example. Okay, now there's a couple of ways to do that. Okay, so another number to keep in mind is this 2,500 number. There are 2,500 calories in a pound of fat. All right, 2,500 calories. So the simple math is that if I'm going to lose a pound a week, And keep that in mind too, that generally you do want to lose weight slowly and over time. There aren't really any true methods of losing weight really fast that are safe for you and healthy for you. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you may lose a little bit more at the beginning. If you're using some really extreme, strict diet, you may lose weight really quickly, whether or not that's really healthy for you. But so we're going to say you lose 1 or 2 pounds a week. All right. So just for the math here, I'm going to say I'm going to lose a pound a week. Okay. So in that week, I need to shift this balance off 2,500 calories in order to lose that pound. So there are a couple ways I can do that. One is I can shift my eating pattern a little bit so that I'm taking in less calories every day. So that might be, for example, taking 500 less calories in per day. Okay, now that's a lot of calories if I'm looking at 1,600 to 2,000 calories a day. All right, so what I can do is, instead of doing just reducing my calories, I can also add exercise in. So I can exercise more every day, and that will mean that I don't have to take out so many calories. Now, if you're eating a whole lot though, it might be easier for you to just go ahead and take out some calories, especially if you're eating junk food, processed food, and things that have a lot of calories. But if you're already eating pretty well, it may be a little bit of a jump to go ahead and start taking out that many calories. So we can just increase our exercise, and it's just a little bit of a balancing act there, right? Well, it's not really that simple, but I just want you to get that in your head, as that's what you can do. A little bit of changing with your calories and the types of foods that you eat and things that we'll talk about some more, but also a little bit of exercise, increasing your exercise that you do. So those two things work together really well to increase the amount of calories that are going out, decrease the amount of calories that are coming in, and balance this out or shift it a little bit so that the weight actually starts coming off as far as what weight you're carrying. So hopefully that is a kind of a simple explanation, but I just want you to keep that in your head as we move on here. So you can calculate up how many calories you need per day. And then you can try to cut that a little bit as far as making sure that you're getting a little bit less calories, like 200 calories less a day, and help and work that way. And we'll talk about exercise more here in a minute. One thing that's been really popular lately has been carbohydrate, low carbohydrate or diets, and to talk about like Atkins and some others out there. But one thing about those, some people use those and they use them and they lose weight really quickly at first. But I wouldn't recommend doing that for long term. I would recommend, if you're going to do that, if you're going to try it, being very careful. Maybe ideally you would be under physician's care, and I wouldn't get those carbohydrates low, like under 50 grams for more than a couple weeks. And the reason for that is there's something called ketosis, and it's really where your body just doesn't, your carbohydrates are your energy. Your body needs carbohydrates. So if you cut that back too far for too long, your body starts burning fat instead. And you may think, oh, that's a wonderful thing. But really, it does create a condition in your body that's not natural. And your body does start building up something called ketones. You can start having some really serious health issues from that situation, and they can be life-threatening issues if let go. So we really want to do some lifetime or lifelong changes that have you eating better, exercising, and just being an overall healthier person, and not doing something that's like a 6-week quick fix and then going back to eating junk food again and not exercising, and that's not going to be good for your overall health. So So enough on that. I highly recommend paying attention to the calories coming in, but also it's not just the calories, it's the type of calories, right? It is the type of calories. A lot of times when you talk about carbohydrates, some of those carbohydrates are just, you do need to reduce them because they're not the right type of carbohydrates. They are junk food. They are breads and cereals or sugared foods, donuts and cookies and crackers and chips and all these types of things. Whereas also carbohydrates are fruits and vegetables and some of the whole grain breads and whole grain crackers and things. So when you're looking at your food pyramid, whether it be your USDA or your Mediterranean, or there are maybe other things out there that you find, but that's two that I would recommend that you start with. I would highly recommend that you're learning about what good carbohydrate choices are. If you're eating good carbohydrates, you're also getting in your fiber, which is going to be great as far as helping you be healthy overall and having a good, your digestive tract keeps working well, but also to keep yourself feeling full so you don't feel hungry as much, and also then to help you maintain and lose weight. So learning more about carbohydrates and not just avoiding all carbohydrates, but learning more about which ones to choose. That's be a little bit more specific if you're a diabetic. So like I said, again, paying attention to your own needs as far as types of carbohydrates, what's best for you, and learning some basic nutrition if you haven't already. So you're going to count your calories, kind of get an idea of how many. When you count the calories too, some people really do. I'll go back to this for a moment. But some people really do want to count calories of every single thing that they eat during the day and keep track of all that. Some people, they do not want to do that, and they just want to know approximately how much, how much different types of foods they can eat. There are so many things these days that are helpful. You can do apps that you can just poke in what foods you're eating, and they'll calculate things for you. Whatever works for you. If you're the type of person that likes to have the details and keep track of the calories, if you just like to have a basic idea of making sure I get, this many vegetables per day in this type of servings, and you can find what works for you on that. But just as making sure that you're learning from the pyramids, and based on what your calorie intake is. If your calorie intake is 13, 14, 1500 a day, take that to the pyramid. It'll tell you how many servings of what you need every day. And so that's pretty simple. And so a couple more things about just basic as far as the eating is making sure you're getting plenty of water every day. Making sure you're getting water, maybe even getting up first thing in the morning, having a big 8-ounce glass of water before you even start your day. Wonderful for weight loss, but also just health of the body overall. So getting the water in every day. It may not be, recommendation is generally about 64 ounces of water a day, but yours might be a little bit higher or lower than that. But you got to find what's right for you. But just making sure you're getting plenty of water a day. Highly recommend no sodas, no soda of any kind. I would, if you want to drink teas, coffees, but I would stay away from soda, even the diet sodas. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And so anyway, so stay away from sodas, increase your vegetables, increasing our vegetables, your fruits, and again, making sure you're paying attention to those, the pyramid that you choose, and getting your fruits and vegetables. And again, when we say fruits and vegetables, we're not talking about vegetables smothered in cheese and sauces and butter. We're talking about some good steamed vegetables, learning how to cook them, learning how to eat them healthy. It's not rocket science. It's something that you can learn to do on YouTube. You can learn how to cook a little bit healthier. So, and using spices, using herbs, using different things, oils and things. So Again, increasing your fiber, increasing your nutrients by getting those vegetables in there. That's going to just serve you really, really, really well as you grow older. Learning how to do some recipe substitution. You may have some favorite recipes from your grandma or your grandpa, mom or dad, and learning to do a little substitution, maybe even just on something you want to have, like you want your favorite brownies. I'm not going to tell you not to have brownies or not to have a chocolate chip cookie or not to have ice cream, but you really have to space that out, and you really have to use your common sense about, obviously can't have a big bowl of ice cream every single night and think that you're going to lose weight. Unless you're doing a lot of marathon running during the day, then you might get away with that. But you got a lot of calories coming in there. So if you're going to, if you have something that you really enjoy, letting yourself have that once a week is going to keep you from starting to have dreams about it, and where you're obsessed on wanting sugars or obsessed on wanting that specific item that you like. So put that in somewhere. It doesn't have to be a reward. It could just be just a weekly. I get my chocolate chip cookies on, a couple chocolate chip cookies on a Thursday evening. It doesn't have to be really significant. You can even go with bite-size chocolates or bite-size, something that you really enjoy, and just have just a little bit each day. So whatever works for you. So make sure that you don't go crazy because you're not getting that. But if you can, most of the time, 95% of the time, eat good, healthy vegetables, fruits, lean meats, learn how to cook those meats. Maybe you want to stick mostly with chicken and fish. Maybe you're going to follow that Mediterranean. But lean meats, well-cooked vegetables, even fruits, some people might, smother fruits in things and make them, chocolate, caramel, sugar, whatever. So the best you can on that. Learning how to substitute, like I mentioned, learn how to read labels. Okay, so if you're looking at labels, and this is something you can YouTube again, or you can and you can get online and you can do some research on labels. But just learning that here's the ingredient list, the top on the ingredient list. That's what there is most in there. Learning to pay attention closely to how many servings are in a product, because they try to trick us up a little bit on that, and they tell you there's 150 calories, and you think, wow, this is pretty good. Then you find out that's actually 3 servings. So in the product, so you actually have 3 times that amount, so you have 450. So paying attention to those little things, paying attention to what the calories are made of. I mean, are the calories carbohydrates? Are they fats? What are the calories? So learning some basic nutrition again, learning to read labels, learning to understand when it says that it's low sugar or low fat, what does that mean? For example, a few years ago, gosh, it's been several years ago now, everything started coming out that was low fat, low fat, low fat. Well, but some of those items, they put sugars in and didn't tell you. It's not that they didn't tell you. They were on the label on the back. But if we're getting sugar calories, but not fat calories, you might have been better off with the fat calories, I guess is what I'm saying. So you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff, and you're better off. I mean, if something has a bunch of packaging on it, it's probably something you shouldn't eat. So you can go with those fruits and vegetables. They don't have packages. You just buy them, you eat them. You're going to be better off. The less packaging you have, that might be a simple rule, the better your food's going to be. So the more you can eat raw foods, the more you can eat fruits and vegetables. And this is, again, just basic, not even related to weight loss. But let's talk about exercise with weight loss. Exercise, again, important for all of us, no matter weight loss or not. There's some basic tenets as far as exercise goes. It's really important to have your cardiovascular, or also called cardiorespiratory. It's important to have your strength. Sometimes they call that weight training, but your strength training. It's important to have flexibility and maybe even balance as we get older, types of training. But all of those are important for all of us. And how those play into weight loss, I'll just talk about for a minute, is with With cardio, also aerobic training, okay, you're out there, you're burning calories straight up. You just every step that you take, you burn more calories. If you're going to sit for a minute, you'll burn so many calories, but if you're out walking for a minute, you burn more calories. It's pretty simple, right? Um, so the more you're moving, the more calories you burn. So if you go out for cardio, you're getting a twofold advantage here. One is it is really good for your heart. It's good for your lungs. It's good for your vessels. It's just good overall fitness to have that cardiovascular workout. But it also burns calories because the more you move, the more it burns. So I highly recommend doing the best you can to getting 30 minutes in a day of some sort of cardio. And that could be walking, swimming, riding your bike, riding exercise bikes, riding the treadmill, not the treadmills, yeah, the treadmills, stair steppers, ellipticals, anything. Just getting that heart rate up and then just maintaining. And if you can't do 30 minutes, start out with 5 or 6 minutes and just keep building up. Even cut it into 2 different parts, some in the morning, some at noon, some in the evening. It just, the more you can do, the better. Now, with weight loss, yeah, the more you can do, the better. Now, if you don't need to lose weight, you could easily stop 30 minutes. But if you are trying to lose weight, maybe going a little bit longer, and because you're burning more calories and you're keeping that system working really well to burn calories. I think that's pretty much it on the cardio. I think one thing to remember about cardio, though, that some people sometimes forget is they have trouble with the intensity. You don't want to make the intensity so hard that you can't keep going. I mean, if you can keep going, keep yourself comfortable. Don't wear heavy clothes and heavy sweatsuits and things thinking you're going to sweat and that's going to make you lose weight. You want to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable so you can keep going. So, wear comfortable clothes, comfortable shoes. Go out when the weather is comfortable and try to go a little bit longer that way. Do not wear sweatsuits and things to make you sweat. You're just losing water weight. You're not losing fat weight. So that's pretty much it on the cardio. For the strength training, very important for weight loss and weight maintenance. And a lot of things, this is one of the things that people forget and don't take advantage of with their weight loss. The reasons you want to do strength training for overall fitness and overall mobility and overall being able to lift and carry and do all these wonderful things in life. But as far as for weight loss, what it does for you is it not only do you burn the calories as you're moving and lifting weights or doing your yoga or whatever you're doing for strength training, but also it builds muscle mass. And building muscle mass is great for your metabolism, great for that BMR that I talked about earlier. So that means that if I have more muscle when I'm at rest, when I'm sitting and watching my favorite TV show, or I'm sitting on the bus going across town, I'm actually going to burn more calories sitting because I have more muscle than if I had less muscle. So that's kind of a no-brainer there. I mean, if I'm sitting on the bus for an hour and I can burn, say 150 calories instead of 60 calories, then that's a good thing, right? And let's just do those numbers out. So those don't mean anything. But the idea is that, yeah, you're going to be burning more calories at rest. Keep your metabolism high. So we have to have a little bit more muscle. The muscle is compact. It takes up a lot less space than fat does. So even though it's heavy, it may weigh a little more on the scale. Your body composition, again, like I mentioned earlier, is what's really more important and not the weight on the scale to a certain degree. You don't want to carry around a whole lot of extra muscle either, because that's going to be hard on your heart too. But most of us aren't going to be doing that unless you're going to get into bodybuilding or something. If you're just going to try to stay fit with some regular strength training, you're not going to build so much muscle to worry about that. We're going to try to build it enough to have some good strength to do our everyday activities, to be able to keep our posture, and to also have a higher metabolism. So I would ideally would recommend that you do it 2 or 3 times a week. You do it non-consecutive days. You get a good workout, full body. I do also do videos on strength training, and there are all kinds of help out there as far as at the fitness centers and YMCA's, as far as making sure you're doing a good strength training routine. There's yoga classes. So a lot of options out there for your strength training. I would highly recommend it if you're trying to maintain or lose weight. All right. So every day, and I think I might have mentioned the stretching before. Stretching is kind of one of those indirect things. It's not directly going to be something you think of with losing weight or maintaining, but it is going to be something that's going to help you stay healthy and help your body stay fit. So it's help you prevent injury, help you keep going with your strength training, help you keep going with your cardiovascular. So again, it is a kind of an indirect tool there. That's also going to be important. So I would recommend every day, or at least every other day, to do some stretching along with your cardio and your strength training. So before I finish up, though, I do want to talk about some myths. I mentioned the myth about, don't wear the sweatsuits, don't wear the big plastic suits. They used to wear these big plastic, almost look like aluminum foil suits that go out and try to sweat. If you're trying to cleanse your pores, then that's fine. But if you're trying to lose weight and you're talking about fat weight, you want to be cool. You want to get out there and do your workout. You don't want to be doing something like that. Another thing is you can't spot reduce. So when I say spot reduce, I mean wherever you're carrying your body fat, you really can't focus in on that spot as far as losing weight. About the only way they can do that is through something called liposuction, which I don't really recommend unless that's something between you and your physician. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. But other than that, and same with the other types of gastric bypass and other types of surgeries, that's between you and your physician. But as far as spot reducing, you carry your weight based on your genetics, based on your parents. If you look at your parents, you're going to carry your weight like one of your parents or your grandparents. The first place that you gain your weight, when you started gaining weight, it'll be the last place that you lose your weight, unfortunately. So if you carry it all in your hips, that's in the first place is your hips getting big, and that's probably the last place, unfortunately, where you'll lose it. It doesn't mean it's not impossible. You keep doing the cardio, you keep the strength training up, you keep paying attention to those calories and the types of food that you're eating. You can get there, but that was going to be the challenging spot. But you can't go do 1,000,000 sit-ups and think that you're going to reduce the size of your belly. If you're drinking a whole lot of beer every week, and it doesn't matter how many sit-ups you're going to do, it's not going to work on reducing the fat that's in your belly. Another thing I want to mention, as far as some people may want to try some help in pill form or drink form, would be really careful with that. Some of those things can be not good for your health. I would definitely, if you're going to try something like that, I would be under physician's care to be very careful with that. So I'm really not going to talk about it anymore, other than to say being really careful with those types of options. Another thing that's just going to be really important in your weight loss is to have support and to focus on some other things. Like, for example, making sure you have a good support group, some people that are going to walk with you, some people that are going to help you eat right. If you live in a family situation with more than just yourself, meal decisions are maybe not your own decisions all the time. So trying to work together on eating better as far as a family is going to be more than just me saying this is how you should eat. It's going to be maybe a family discussion and some things there that you can work on. Same with that. Like I said, that's that support as far as exercising. Somebody that'll go out there and walk with you, no matter what the weather is. Somebody that's going to give you a high five, because you did what you needed to do that day. And like I said before, I really like the idea of focusing on the actions and not focusing on the number. I mean, if you just weigh yourself every week, or maybe even every other week, and don't even focus on that, focus on the actions of every day I'm going to walk. Every other day I'm going to do my strength training. Every day I'm going to make sure I get 4 fruits and vegetables. Every day I'm going to do this. Those types of actions are what's going to get you where you want to go, not just jumping up and down on the scale. I mean, that does burn some calories, jumping up and down the scale, but doing the actions. We have something we call the Lifestyle Challenge here at the Enterprise Center. We do this a couple times a year. For 12 weeks, we try to keep you online with eating well, exercising, and eating those vegetables, drinking that water and all that stuff. So that's something that you could do. Another thing that you could do, again, like I said, that support system, get that support system set up, help each other out. You may try to do a diary, a food diary. And a food diary doesn't work for everybody, but it does work for some people to keep track of everything that they eat. You could do that on an app. You could do it on a written form, and just keeping track of what you're eating. Sometimes you'll catch yourself doing things that you didn't realize you were doing. You didn't realize that you were having dessert every day, or you didn't realize you were, drinking things that maybe you shouldn't be drinking during the course of the day, or as much of it as you were. So the little things like that can be helpful for you to look at yourself, and they can also be helpful if you're going to go to somebody and talk to them and say, help me out, whether it's your physician, whether it's a registered dietitian, whether it would be somebody like me in the fitness field, to actually look at how it is that your eating patterns are, and what you can improve. So a food diary would be something to try. All kinds of motivators these days, as far as your fitness, for sure. You have not only your friends and family, but you can get involved in groups online. There used to be a thing called Weight Watchers. I'm not even sure what's happening right now with Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem and all of those, but if it's a group that you can get on, maybe not in person, but maybe in person. Maybe it's a small group that you created yourself. Maybe it's an online group that's national. Any of that you can support system each other, and give each other a pat on the back. That's a wonderful thing for some people. And some people, no, they want to do it all on their own and keep it all. And that's fine too, if that works for you. So you find what works for you as far as your support, as far as your motivation. You may do a Fitness Pal app on your phone. You may have a fitness tracker on your wrist, and you're counting your steps, and you're counting your calories, or you're counting, how many times you go to the gym, or how many times you do. It doesn't matter if that helps you. If you have a big whiteboard in your house, and you're just checking off every time how many miles you walk every week, or how many miles you jog, or it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you. You make it work. You find what works for you. You listen to a lot of different people, but you still make your own decision on what works for you. But focus on the actions. I mean, that's probably the last thing that I should say here today, is focus on the actions. Some other tips about eating. There's a lot of information out there. I think some just general tips, simple things, and you may already know a lot of these simple things, like don't shop when you're hungry. I mean, go ahead and make your list out. Make sure you're not hungry, not tired when you're going to shop. Make a real, intentional shopping trip where you get what's on your list. You don't go around on the ends of the aisles there and buy. I mean, if you go around the outside, that's where your good foods are. Stay out of the stuff that's going to make you want to buy things that you don't want, that you shouldn't be buying for your healthy eating, and stick with your plan. Like I said, learn how to read labels if you're struggling with that. Stay away from processed foods as much as you can. Those are just going to be extra calories for you. So don't shop when you're hungry. Allow yourself, again, something that you really like on your daily or weekly plan. Remember that you're only going to lose weight 1 or 2 pounds a week, preferably. But it's going to take time. But you didn't gain. I'm just going to throw this number out there. You didn't gain 30 pounds in a week, so you're not going to lose 30 pounds in a week, or even 10 pounds. I mean, it takes time to gain weight. And maybe sometimes it doesn't seem that way, but it takes time. Weight usually comes on over time. It's going to go off over time. But if you take the time to just follow the healthy eating practices, those exercise practices, take the time to learn some new cooking methods, some new shopping methods, getting yourself that support system. If you struggle with something when it comes to exercise, I'd be glad to help you with it. Give me a call here at the Enderite Center. My email is kcampbell@area10agency.org. Be glad to help you out, with the exercise component, because that is going to be very important. As far as the eating part, I'll do my best to be your coach and to help you with information. And there's a lot of things out there. I think another thing to keep in mind is that there's not going to be some magic bullet that you're going to, or magic bullet, is that the right word? Or magic, there's not going to be a magic pill. There's not going to be something that just takes it off right away. And if you're just out trying to find that and spending money on that, time on that, that's really not getting you where you need to be. So we're going to really focus on the things I've said today as far as the healthier eating. Find what works for you there. Again, modifying recipes, modifying recipes and learning how to cook better, learning how to shop better, learning how to exercise. Another thing about the eating is sometimes people struggle with the timing on their eating, and they don't know. I mentioned drinking water first thing in the morning, maybe getting up and having a good protein source in the morning, early in the day, eating a little bit heavier on the early part of the day and not so much at the end of the day. Kind of makes sense. You really need to scatter your calories out during the course of the day and not have don't starve yourself all day and then feel like you're just going to just really have this great big giant meal in the evening. So really, when you're active is when you need your calories, and when you're not active at night is when you don't really need your calories. So you don't need to eat a whole bunch and then go to sleep. So use your common sense about that. Space out, make sure you have some healthy snacks. If you need a 2:00 snack to get you by for the rest of, until dinner time, make it a healthy snack. Make it a little bit of protein, maybe some nuts. So making some good choices will go a long way. And if you need to help with the motivation part, let me know. We'll do what we can to help you out. And like I said, getting involved in a group, good way to share recipes, good way to motivate each other, good way to support each other. And so you find what works for you. And if you need any help, give me a call. I'll be glad to do what I can to help you out with this. It's not impossible. It may sound like a little bit of work, but you know what? Anything worth having is worth working for, right? So that's what they say. So, all right. Let me know if you need help. Otherwise, it's been nice talking to you, and good luck with your attempt to maintain or lose some body weight. All right. Thank you.